Vaše stanovište da performans može da se nekako interpretira, da nije to autentično jedno izvođenje.
Da, to je stvarno jedan moj predlog kojim se trenutno bavim tom idejom. Zato što mi uvek mislimo da i naš ego je toliko veliki da sve što mi uradimo je samo naše i ničije drugo. Jedan moj prijatelj, ovaj pozorišni umetnik koji je pravio, direktor koji je bio direktor mog nove biografije, rekao, kaže, I'm always used to see my pieces dying. Uvek, kaže, sam se navikao da vidim kako moji radovi umiru. I onda sam se ja pitala, a ja uopšte ne želim, ja nikad ne vidim da moji radovi da treba da umiru. Ja vidim da moji radovi treba da žive, ali efekt je da performans, ako ne, mislim ono kad ga napraviš i ako je tu publika, vidiš ga, posle toga ga ponovno napraviš, publika ga ne vidi, on više ne postoji. Postoji samo kao fotografija, ali to nije to isto. I onda sam ja pomislila zašto ja ne bi napravila ideju performansa kao muzički koncept. Ako ti možeš da igraš Baha posle 100 godina Baha i napraviš tehno Bach, ali još uvek imaš koncept da je to Bach, ali si napravio svoju drugu interpretaciju, to možda isto uradiš sa performansom. I u stvari performans može da živi kroz druge ljude, ali ti ljudi moraju da znaju da naprave performans kao što ljudi koji sviraju Bach moraju da znaju da sviraju Baha. I ja sad pravim jedan novi rad u Guggenheim muzeju iduće godine koja se zove Seven Easy Pieces.
7 lakih
komada. To je nedelja dana gde svakog dana ću izvesti jedan najtežih performansa u istoriji performansa koji nisu moji, koji su drugih umetnika i zadnji je moj. Znači 6 od istorije performansa, a 1 je moj. I baš da otvorim celu tu ideju repeticije i na koji način može da se jedan performans ponovi. Ja hoću da te materijale od 7 easy pieces pisat ću svakog umetnika za dozvolu, platit ću svakom umetniku dozvolu, izlagat ću originalni materijal kakav jeste i napravit ću svoju interpretaciju. I na taj način mislim da može jedno delo da se kopira i da se u stvari interpretira drugčije.
Marina often talks about performances as being like children. You know, you don't have children so that you keep them at your house all day long or for the rest of their lives. You have children so that they go out into the world and they live and they have, you know, a long life. And I think that when she decided to do 7 easy pieces, that was also in response to a need for there to be a good protocol about how to reperform other people's work and what channels you have to go through and how to get permissions and if there's payment. And I think that her doing that and now what we've created here, this protocol for reperformance is really like, it's going to structure ways for people to continue to perform people's works in a respectful way and not just, you know, so many people reference other people's performances or steal other performances and just do them or incorporate them into their works somehow without actually giving proper credit. And so I think this whole concept of reperforming it's really important to define what the rules are around it. Because I think that artists want to share, but there have to be respectful ways for that to happen.
Njujorčanka Linzi Pajsinger je performer, plesač, koreograf i reditelj. Režirala i učestvovala u brojnim scenskim postavkama širom sveta, operama, plesnim i pozorišnim predstavama. Bila je asistent režije u predstavama Boba Vilsona, dugogodišnji je saradnik Marine Abramović i ključna ličnost u proceduri ponovnih izvođenja njenih performansa.
Performance is growing more and more. Like, I think that it's expanding to include like many mediums in sort of one, because I think at some point my background is as a dancer. And I feel like things were so much more compartmentalized when I was training as a dancer. It was like you did dancing, you could do performance art, you did acting, and I feel now like all of that is mixing. Like even I myself make projects that have, it's a bit of directing and it's a bit of performing, and then it's also singing groups, and then it's performance art and it's durational. And I love that, and I think it's changing the landscape of contemporary art now, and also opening up a way for people to really work with the body in front of the public much more. I think that no matter what medium I'm working in, or what kind of project, I'm working on connecting human beings. Yeah, to other human beings, to each other. I directed an opera in New York last year, and we worked with 1,000 singers. Speaking of chaos, it was total chaos. But I just kept thinking, like, how do we make it so that all of these singers feel that they're part of something special and that they're part of it together? And that kind of ends up being the core of, like, one of the main things that I do when I work on an opera like that, or when I work on a new theater work, or when I have these performers getting together, if I'm making a new durational performance. I always think about how to facilitate a kind of very direct and basic contact so that people feel together. Yeah, that's what's happened in my work recently, I guess.
Linzi Pajsinger je jedna od ključnih figura u formulisanju Metode Abramović. Metod Abramović začet je tokom radionice Čišćenje kuće, kada je Marina Abramović svoje studente pripremala za dugotrajne performanse. Ova radionica uobičajeno je trajala 7 dana u prirodi. Studenti su spavali u zajedničkim spavaonicama, nisu razgovarali niti jeli, upražnjavali su duge i zahtevne vežbe, inspirisane mnogim kulturama i narodima koje je Marina proučavala, uključujući brazilske šamane, aboriđine i tibetanske sveštenike. Marinina potreba za postavljanjem striktnih pravila rada u okviru radionice proistekla je iz njenog vlastitog iskustva odrastanja uz stroge roditelje, prvoborce, koji su imali visoke pozicije u Komunističkoj partiji Jugoslavije. Pošto je otišla u Amsterdam, oslobođena čvrstih porodičnih stega, osjećala se dezorijentisano. Odlučila je da sama sebi kreira sistem životnih pravila. Pre nego što je počela saradnju sa Marinom Linzi Pajsinger, smatrala je da su pravila i sloboda u oštroj opoziciji. Radeći sa njom, shvatila je da se upravo uz pomoć pravila osvaja sloboda.
Marina Abramović method. So how could you explain this method?
So the Abramović method is, it's had a long story. It started as a kind of experiment in Milano in 2012. We did a work where people came and they spent 30 minutes with each sort of transitory object. So they would spend 30 minutes on a bed, 30 minutes on a chair, and 30 minutes standing in a tower, and then they would write about their experience. So at that time, the method was a public participatory thing for a very controlled group with a very controlled amount of time. Then Marina and I performed at the Serpentine Galleries for 64 days. And Marina said, I want to work with the energy of the public as the material for the work. And I was like, that sounds great. What are we going to do? And she said, I have no idea. So what we did is we ended up bringing exercises that are used to train the durational performers into the gallery spaces and using those to kind of create an energetic content in that room. And I think both of us realized that that energetic content was really what the method was dealing with. So then we expanded and the method became a large-scale, usually public participatory work where people come, they leave all their belongings in a locker, so their watches, their phones, their iPads, anything distracting, and then they put noise-canceling headphones on, so it's a totally quiet space. And they come in and they can spend 5 minutes there, they can spend 6 hours there. We have people that, when we do the method, we sometimes have people that come back every day for 2 weeks, 5 weeks. And it really becomes a space where human beings share very, very basic activities with each other that don't know each other. It's pretty incredible. It's like it grew into this thing that almost feels like a social experiment in some ways, where I can see what the important things are in that space that make people able to connect to themselves, to other people. And we always work with a team of facilitators. So when I'm directing the method, I'm casting and training also facilitators to guide people through that experience, but in a very particular way. It's nothing forceful. It's like basic human contact, making suggestions, setting tone, energetic tone for that space.
Velika evropska retrospektiva Marine Abramović pod naslovom Čistač, koja je otpočela turneju 2017. godine, ostvarena je u produkciji Modernog muzeja u Stokholmu, Louisiana muzeja moderne umetnosti iz Humbleka i Bundeshalea iz Bona. Osim pomenutih gradova, predstavljena je i u Oslu, Firenci i Torunu. Njena poslednja stanica je Beograd, gde je ova postavka u Muzeju savremene umetnosti otvorena 21. septembra i traje do 20. januara 2020. godine. Jedan od najuzbudljivijih delova ove postavke čine reperformansi, koji se izvode svakodnevno. Njih 11, čije su praizvedbe nastale između 1975. i 1997. godine, celokupnim procesom odabira i treniranja reperformera u svim pomenutim evropskim gradovima kao i kod nas, bavila se Linzi Pajsinger.
On the cleaner, I deal with everything that's living in the exhibition, so all of the humans. So I cast the performers, and then I train the performers, and then I come and I work with the curator to decide what re-performances work, with Marina as well. And then we stage them somewhere, so I figure out how to stage all of the performances and what the parameters of that look like. Everything that is about the human performative things is what I do. And then also on the cleaner in Stockholm, Marina and I collaborated on a new collective performance, and we worked with 35 choirs and 30 performers, and we did like a week-long, 8 hours a day, sort of sonic landscape that never ended. So mostly on the cleaner, I do all the live stuff, and then in that instance, we were able to create a new work.
You did the casting and the work with the re-performance in Belgrade, but also in all those other cities and countries. So how could you explain your specific Belgrade experience?
Each place has been different. Like each country has a different pool of talent and different opportunities for different kinds of performers. And so I think here, one big thing that really stood out in the casting is that a lot of the people coming were very young. In other places, I would have people in their 30s, sometimes 40s, and here, I would say the majority of the people in the casting were quite young, like 20, 21, 22. The casting is like this. I sit down with like 8 or 10 people, and I basically say, I've read your CV, and I know a little bit about what you do, but tell me a bit of who you are, what you love, and why this project is interesting. And because it was a much younger pool of people, I could see that they were kind of nervous and trying to prepare, and then I find that in every country, those answers are very different. And here, people kept saying, I just want to improve what I can do. I really want to learn. I really want the opportunity to understand this method for, and in other places, people might have said like, well, I've done years of this, and I've done years of this, and this is something different. And so I got very different answers.
You had this training with this group of people on the Drina River, 1 week, I think. So what was the schedule of those training?
The schedule, it changed a little bit every day depending on what exercises we were doing, but we wake them up early in the morning, and the first thing that we do is we go swimming. That's the first thing in the closest body of water. And then after that, they have a little bit of time, and I give them, depending on how the group is, I give them breaks that sort of, not breaks, but the moments where they're not engaging in an exercise and they can rest and drink tea and take a nap or write. A lot of them write a lot. And then through the day, we do long durational exercises. So they do a mutual gaze for an hour, and then they have a little bit of time, and then I'll have them do slow motion walking for an hour and 30 minutes, and then they have a little bit of time. And then there's some exercises that last a lot longer. Like there's an exercise where they open and close a door without entering or exiting over and over again for 3 hours. Or they count rice for 6 hours, for example. So that's kind of how the week goes. And then every morning after the swimming, we do a warm-up. I do like an hour and a half long. I call it a warm-up, but what it really is a way to kind of like get your body into like a neutral place so that it's ready for this day, and we do partnering things, and they learn massage things. And then in the evening, I do a ritual that is often as well in partners that like calms the body down and gets them ready to sleep and rest.
Ispitivanje i pomeranje granica izdržljivosti ljudskog tela, dovođenje tela u ekstremne situacije, kao i osvešćivanje relacije duha i tela, fokus je stvaralaštva Marine Abramović.
You are dealing with the limits of human body. What is your idea? Where are the limits of the human body?
Oof. I sometimes think the limits of the human body are in the mind, but that's a very personal thing. Like, I have this trick when I'm in the gym, if I'm running on the treadmill, and I don't really like running on the treadmill, but I do it because it gets the devil out, but I'm running on the treadmill, and it's like I've been running 20 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, I just want to stop. But then I always think to myself, do it 5 more minutes. You can do anything for 5 more minutes. And then I do it. And then I'll be like, do it another 3 minutes. You can do anything for 3 minutes. And I think that it's like the mind has to get out of the way so that we can actually be in the body and really understand the limits of the body. I think that our mind sets body limits based on pain, discomfort, feeling triggered by things. And I think that sometimes those limits are arbitrary. Sometimes we were told that those were our limits by someone else. And so then we stop. But actually, if we could clear that out, this conditioning and this preconceived idea of what our limits are, I think we can go much farther with the body. But I kind of think that about a lot of things as well in terms of limits. Like when I work with really large groups of performers, it's total chaos. And each time I think to myself, wow, this can't get more chaotic than this. And then the next time it's more chaotic, but it's also because I've expanded my mind to allow for space for chaos. It doesn't have to be scary or... So I think that the mind often interferes with how we can test our limits.
And with your practice, I think that you're helping people to push their limits. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes it's like we do this workshop and they can't eat and they can't speak for 6 days. And already that's a difficult thing, not eating for 6 days. I mean, it's very for the body, it can be very hard. People can feel sick. But so often I feel that the limits are being tested, that they're being sort of transcended because they're mentally clearing out things. They come to me in the workshop sometimes and they're like this, and I can't do this, or I'm feeling this way. And we just talk, and with a very simple conversation, they sometimes can just like, okay, put those thoughts aside and just go with the body and just go through it. And I see them like transform in front of me, some of these people. Like it's incredible.
And what is your idea and your impression? What is the role of human body in contemporary art?
I don't know. I mean, I can only speak from my experience,
Yes,
which is that of performance. There's so much, like, for example, the Freeing series, the 3 works, Freeing the Voice, Freeing the Memory, and Freeing the Body. Those are very straightforward works. Like, the idea of those works is that you do a thing until you can't do it anymore. And so in that way, it's a very straightforward explanation. You go there, you dance, and you move your body until you collapse. And so I think when you think about that, it's like, okay, this is a straightforward, mission for this piece, but actually, it's all about the body. And it's all about what we were talking about, all the limits of the body and all of this stuff. And I think that there's layers of psychology in that we're accessing like through the body. We're not talking about it. We are afterwards and saying, oh my God, this happened, and I thought of my parents, and I thought I was gonna vomit, and I don't know. And I think that the body, in my experience of doing this kind of work, it's like uncovering your whole life, kind of. Also, I think for me, it's very hard to separate when I'm working with all these people here or on other projects that I work on, like the body is the person and the person is the body, and there's an energy in that, and there's a charismatic connection between people, and you have to, sometimes when I work with groups, I'm not just facilitating like that kind of connection, I'm facilitating like an energetic connection so that everyone relates better to everyone else when there's a physical, like a recognition kind of. And so in my artwork, that's extremely important. Lindsay is fiacking. That's right, fiacking. Do you want to fiac? We can fiac together. You can fiac VIP style. You can fiac for free. You can fiac with anyone, anywhere, without prophylactics, day and night. So now that you know, do you want to fiac?